So we finally made it to what day? Day 1 of Envision 3-1, which is using mental math to multiply by hundreds, tens, and thousands. So one thing to notice about when we're multiplying, let's look at this first one right here. When we're multiplying by what? By a 10, all we do is we look at our basic math facts, meaning we take that 0 off, pretend it's not even there, multiply them, 5 times 5 is 25, and we add that 0 back on. So really, when you're multiplying by tens, hundreds, thousands, take those zeros off, multiply what's left, and add them back on. It's going to be one of our easiest lessons actually, as long as you know your math facts, which is why I've been practicing them in extra math. So let's head on down to our first one. So show how you can use the basic math fact 5 times 8 equals 40 to determine the product of 5 times 800. So remember, we're just going to take these two zeros off, pretend they're not even there, multiply it. 5 times 8 is 40. And then what do we do next? Well, we add those zeros back on. So this has 3 zeros. So what we could do to show is we can show 5 times 8 equals 40, because it says show. And then what do? We just then show that 5 times 800, we just have 2 more zeros on there. It's as easy as that. Now let's head to number 2. It says Bob said 4 times 500 is 200. Explain his error. Well, first, we know that doesn't make sense because 500 is bigger than 200. And when we multiply, our numbers should get bigger. So I know right away he has a mistake. So let's check it out. Let's take those zeros off. 4 times 5 is 20. And then let's add those zeros back on. So we need to add 2 zeros back on. So that's 1, 2. So it should be 2,000. So what did he do? Well, look at this. He didn't add an extra 0. So what's wrong there? Well, what I think is wrong is he did 4 times 5 is 20. And then he saw, oh, there's 2 zeros here. I already have one, so I'm just going to add 1 on there. So we're going to put Bob forgot to add an extra 0. It could be because he already thought there's one here from the 20, or he just forgot completely. So now let's check. It says use strategies to help you multiply. Well, knowing my math facts, I know 8 times 7 is 56. So now all I do is I'm adding these zeros on as they move one place value over. So I'm going to add 1 0. So now instead of ending in the tens, it ends in the hundreds. I'm going to add another 0. So now instead of ending in the hundreds, it ends in the thousands. And now I'm going to add 3 zeros. So now instead of ending in the thousands, it ends in the 10,000s. Number 4, basic math fact. 7 times 7 is 49. And now let's add that 0 back on for 490. Basic math fact. 2 times 7 is 14. And then add those 2 zeros back on for 1,400. As long as you know your math facts, it's super easy for our lesson today, guys. Okay, basic math facts. 3 times 7 is 21. Add that 0. Now I'm going to do my basic math fact is 3 times 7 is 21 and add 2 zeros. 3 times 7, my basic math fact is 21 and add 3 zeros because I have 3 zeros here. Heading off to number 7. 6 times 4, my basic math fact, is 24, and I can add this 0 back on. I add 1 0. Basic math fact is 6 times 4 equals 24, and now I'm adding 2 zeros on. Basic math fact is still 6 times 4 is 24, and add 3 zeros. See how easy it is as long as you know those basic math facts? Okay, basic math facts. Let's get rid of that 0 like we typically do. 6 times 8 is 48, and add 1 0 on. So notice I can just put 48 for all of these, and now I can just add those zeros because I know my basic math fact. And this one we add 3 zeros to it. Okay, let's head on over to number 9. Basic math fact is 4 times 2 is 8. And how many zeros do I add? I add 3. So I'm moving at 3 place values. It's going from the ones to the thousands. Basic math fact is 4 times 7 is 28. And add 2 zeros. So I'm moving it 2 place values, 2,800. And my last one, 6 times 6 is 36, and I'm adding 1 0 on for 360. So that was it for that first page. See how easy it was? So now let's head to our second page, the word problems. The Mississippi River is about 8 times, so I'm going to underline, and just for myself, I'm going to do that multiplication symbol above. 8 times the length of the Hudson River. The Hudson River is about 300 miles long. How many miles long is the Mississippi? Write and solve an equation. Well, here we have 8, and it's telling me it's 8 times. So I'm going to put that multiplication sign in, and it's 8 times 300. So what is this equation is talking about? Well, remember when we have an equation, my base word is equal. And what does equal mean, math? It means that equal sign. So now, what's my basic math fact? 8 times 3 is 24, and add 2 zeros. So that is my equation right there. Number 3, our tape diagrams, our favorite. Ted, Jason, and Angelina are trying to raise $200 for a local shelter. Ted raised 30. Jason raised 90. How much money does Angelina need to raise in order to reach the goal? So this is our total goal. So that means this whole tape diagram is 200. Ted raised 30. Jason raised 90. So we're looking for this mystery M for Angelina. So I'm also going to put an A for Angelina just so I remember whose it is. So now think of it. We have $200 and we're taking away this part. It's like been chopped off. So what would that be? 200 take away 30. Well, that's going to be, using my regrouping, 170 left. So this part right here is 170. And then again, think about it. We're taking this and we're chopping this off. So what would that be? 170 minus 90 is going to be 80. So she would need to raise $80. What's another way we could have solved this one really fast? And some of you may have preferred it. Well, instead of doing 2 subtraction problems, we could do addition first. So let's add these two together. So these two together, 90 plus 30, is 120. So now we have 120 right here. That's how much money they have raised together. And we're chopping it off. We're cutting it off. So we have 200 we start with in this model, and we're chopping off, we're taking away 120. So what are we left with? 80, which you see was the same answer we got from our other strategy. So 2 ways to solve that one. Okay, this one we're going to zoom out because we have to see this table at the right over here. There are 9 girls and 4 adults in Amy Scout Troop. How much did the troop pay for tickets to the amusement park? Well, let's look. We have 9 girls, 4 adults. So we have 9 groups, and how much does a child pay? Well, they went to the amusement park. So let's look. A child pays right here, ding, 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 $30. So 9 children paid $30, which means 9 equal groups of 30. And then we have 4 adults. So we have 4 groups of how much did adults pay? Well, they paid $40 right here. So now what do? We have to figure out what these equal. So my basic math fact is 9 times 3 is 27, and add that 0 back on. Basic math fact is 4 times 4, which is 16, and add that 0 on. So I have these 2 numbers, so what do I do with them? Well, they didn't pay separately, they paid all together. So what do we have to do with all together? We have to add them. So let's do 270 plus 160. And you'll notice we end up with 430. So how much did they pay? They paid 430. So now let's go to number 15, our high order thinking, the ones that really stretch our brain. Tina visited Funland with her mom and a friend. How much money did they save on the 2 children's ticket for Plan C instead of buying the children's ticket for Plan A and Plan B? So notice right here, Plan C, you get to go to both locations. And it's going to be cheaper because you're saving some money. And we want to know how much will we save. So let's look again at our question right here. How much money do they save on 2 children's tickets for Plan C instead of buying separate tickets for Plan A and Plan B? Well, let's check. 2 children's tickets for the water park would be what? 20 times 2. That's 40. 2 tickets for the amusement park would be what? 30 times 2, which is 60. So how much would it have been if they bought those 2 tickets each instead of buying the combined payment? They'd pay $100, which, wow, that's a lot. So let's see if we could save them some money. So here for Plan C, they only need to buy 1 ticket each, which costs $40. But there's 2 of them, so we have to buy 2 tickets. We can't sneak in. So that's 80. So now what do we do with these 2 pieces of information? Well, we have $100 minus 80. We're seeing how much they save. And by counting by 20s, I know that's going to be $20 because it's going to take 20 to get from 80 to 100. So how much would they save? They'd save $20. So that means they could actually get their lunch for free or something inside. So pretty nice way to save money. All right, now number 16, one of my favorite problems in the whole entire Envision book for Volume 1 and Volume 2 because look, it's my name. So Brandon says 4 times 800 is greater than 8 times 4,000. Renee says 4 times 800 is less than 8 times 4,000. So let's see who's correct. Mr. Wimbley, Brandon, or if this Renee girl is. So without calculating the answer, explain how you use place value strategies or the associated property to find which is greater. So let's see. It doesn't want me to solve it. So I'm thinking. And what did you come up with? Well, I know that this one right here, 8 times 4,000 is going to be bigger because it has an extra place value. So let's write that down. 8 times 4,000 is larger. We could put greater than as well because it has an extra place value. So it already starts in the thousands and it's only going to get bigger. It starts in the thousands and what does our other one start with? But the other starts in the hundreds. Okay, let's head on to part B. Without calculating the answer, explain how you use relationships or basic facts to find which is less. So, which is less? Well, we know our basic fact for all of them is what? So let's label it. Our basic fact was 8 times 4, which is 32. And now which one is less? Well, 4 times 800 is less because it has less place values. All right, that's it for your lesson. Good job today, guys.